Tonight, a holiday forecast. As Thanksgiving week gets underway, retailers and airlines brace for an uncertain shopping and travel season. I'm Nancy Cordes. Also tonight, let the debate begin. Last night's Senate vote sets the stage for a bruising battle over health care reform. And Vampire Victory, the latest Twilight Saga movie, New Moon, soars to the third biggest opening weekend ever.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
Good evening. Russ Mitchell is off tonight. With Thanksgiving just 4 days off, the consumer outlook for the holiday season is lackluster at best. More than 33 million car trips are expected this Thanksgiving, up 2% from last year. But only 2.3 million trips are expected by air. That's down 6.7%. And the overall holiday shopping forecast is for just under $438 billion in sales, some $682 per person. That's down 3.2% from last year. Bianca Solorzano has more on the holiday outlook.
It's the traditional kickoff to the holiday season, with travelers hitting the roads and hitting the stores. More people are expected to head out of town for Thanksgiving this year compared to last year, when in the midst of deep recession, travel plunged 25%. According to the American Automobile Association, cars are the most popular choice of travel this year. Cost and inconvenience may be keeping people from the skies.
We're seeing baggage fees, fewer flights, travel delays, all these kind of things play into the fact that travel is down significantly by air.
But traffic is up in malls across the country. Retailers are already trying to drum up interest ahead of Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving when the race for the deals begin.
It's a lot cheaper this year than I've ever seen. Stores are giving stuff away.
Yet in a season when unemployment is more than 10%, retailers are facing yet another grim year-end shopping outlook. Overall, holiday retail sales are expected to decline 1%, which is better than last year's 3.4% drop, but still poor compared to normal years. For the last decades, retailers had enjoyed an average 3.4% gain each holiday spending season.
The retailers out there, as they were last year, are going to be really aggressive about giving big discounts.
And stores are pulling out all the stops to lure customers in. The bait, of course, big sales.
Like crazy markdowns, and then on top of the markdowns, more markdowns.
You might find sales, but not as many items this year. Inventory is leaner because last year retailers were stuck with huge amounts of leftover items.
So I think it's really important that people get out there quickly if they want to get the best deals.
And when people do shop, the most popular gifts this year, high-end electronics, jewelry, and clothing. Nancy?
Bianca Solorzano in New York tonight. Thank you. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission is investigating a radiation leak yesterday that led to the shutdown of the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant outside Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The NRC says there was no risk to the public from the plant, which was the site of a partial meltdown back in 1979. We turn next to the battle for health care reform, which enters a new phase after last night's critical Senate vote. Senators cleared the way for a floor debate by a vote of 60 to 39, and they needed at least 60 to prevent a filibuster. But there's no guarantee there will be 60 votes on hand to actually pass a final bill. Kimberly Dozier has the latest from Washington.
Late Saturday night, the Democrats got the votes they needed to launch the health care debate in the Senate.
The motion is agreed to.
But now the fight really begins.
The road ahead is a long stretch, but we can see the finish line.
The Republicans are promising that road will be a long one.
The Senate's not like the House. They had 3 votes on one day and it was over.
Senate debates can take weeks. Then Majority Leader Reid needs 60 votes again to actually pass the final version of the bill. It could look very different after senators add amendments. And he's got to win over some of his own party to do it.
If there are a whole host of other items that are the same as they are right now, I wouldn't vote to get it off the floor.
Nelson is one of 3 Democratic senators who waited until hours before yesterday's vote to agree to even start this debate. They all say they have serious concerns about the bill's nearly $850 billion price tag and about its public option, a government-provided insurance plan. Independent Senator Joe Lieberman, who voted with the Democrats yesterday, says he won't vote for a final bill that includes the public option.
I don't think anybody thinks that this bill will pass.
For the bill's supporters, those are fighting words.
I don't want 4 Democratic senators dictating to the other 56 of us.
But the math means they have to find some way to bring the reluctant Democrats on board or win over some Republicans. Republican Senator Olympia Snowe could hold the key. She's proposed a compromise where a public option would only be triggered as a safety net on a state-by-state basis. Under her plan, at least 95% of the state's residents must have an affordable option available, or the state has to create one.
This will provide the certainty that affordable options exist so that no one falls through the cracks.
And it could deliver her vote, as well as the 3 doubting Democrats.
White House officials have pointed out that the president is on record as signaling his openness towards a trigger. An administration official would only say that they expect to be in conversations with Senator Snowe and other senators in the coming weeks. Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, the White House.
The health care debate and the troubled economy may be hurting President Obama's job approval ratings, which the Gallup poll puts below 50% for the first time ever this weekend. 48% approving, 44% disapproving. To help us put the political week in focus, we're joined now in Washington by our political analyst, John Dickerson. Good evening, John. And what do these numbers reflect?
Well, statistically speaking, those numbers are about where they've been for the president for the last week or so. But politically, it's very bad news when approval rating drops below 50%. To explain that, we just need to look at the question that's been asked to people over the last several months if they approve or disapprove of the president's handling of the economy. The number of people who disapprove now is greater than the number who approve. And as that disapproval number has gone up, the president's general approval ratings have gone down.
Obviously, a victory on health care would likely increase his job approval ratings, but the Democrats have a tough road ahead, don't they?
They have a very tough road. The Senate Democrats got a little victory last night, but the only victory was in getting the Senate to just begin the conversation. Now that conversation is going to turn into a roiling argument of the kind we've heard for the last several months over issues like abortion, over the public option, over how to fund all of this and where the cuts will come. The problem for the president and his allies is every time they pick up the vote of a senator who has said they will vote against health reform, they can lose another senator or a member of the House who has the opposite view on one of these contentious issues. So it's a very tough road ahead.
Threading the needle is very challenging. On another subject, what about this long-awaited decision by the president on Afghanistan? When can we expect to hear what he plans to do?
We know that the president is going to add more troops. The best guessing at the moment is it's around 25 to 30,000. And in terms of the timing, it's probably going to come the week after Thanksgiving. So what we'll see this week coming up is the White House maybe start to frame that decision that the president's going to bring forward. The key question, the key thing the president wants to get across is that he's got an exit strategy for getting out of Afghanistan.
Political analyst John Dickerson in Washington tonight. Thanks so much. The Roman Catholic Bishop of Rhode Island confirmed today that he has asked Representative Patrick Kennedy to stop receiving communion because of his support for abortion rights. Kennedy first disclosed the request from Bishop Thomas Tobin in a newspaper interview. The son of the late Senator Edward Kennedy declined to say whether he's complying. Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the free credit report that isn't so free after all.
But she didn't tell me her credit was bad.
Those catchy commercials advertising free credit reports are not hard to miss, but many consumers are complaining about their truthfulness. Now, the government is proposing a crackdown. Hari Srinivasan has more.
It's all because some hacker stole my identity.
The ad stars slackers made poor by identity theft.
F-R-E-E, that spells freecreditreport.com, baby.
Flight attendant Eurydice Romero remembers the jingle, but also the hassle that came with getting a credit report from freecreditreport.com.
It wasn't actually free.
A week after Romero got a report, she noticed charges on her credit card for credit monitoring, $15 a month. It took her 3 weeks of arguing before she got her money back. She's one of almost 11,000 people to complain to the Better Business Bureau.
I was so upset. It wasn't about the amount of money. It was the principle of it. If you say it's free, give it to me free. If you say you're going to charge me $14.99, then, I'm aware of it.
When retiree Michael Schwartz signed up, he did not want credit monitoring services either, but FreeCreditReport.com charged him for that as well.
I didn't think that monitoring was a necessity. You know, it's like taking your temperature, every day. You just don't need to do that.
Schwartz says the fine print on the company's website is not nearly as prominent as the word free.
Absolutely misled.
But the company says there are disclaimers online and on air.
Offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
Triple Advantage is the name of the credit monitoring service. FreeCreditReport.com says only a very small percentage of consumers genuinely do not understand they signed up for the service. If we are notified by these customers, the company says, we will provide a full refund. Credit counselor Stephen Berman hears the complaints. He says disclaimers should be clearer.
Maybe a disclaimer that would say the only free credit report that is provided is through annualcreditreport.com.
Annualcreditreport.com provides one free credit report to every consumer every year. To get the word out, the Federal Trade Commission has launched ads of its own.
Other sites may turn your head, they say they're free. Don't be misled.
The Federal Trade Commission is considering rules to mandate these websites disclose that people can get a free credit report at annualcreditreport.com. The FTC is accepting public comment on that plan until December 7th. Nancy?
Hari Srinivasan, thank you so much. Torrential rains in northeastern Turkey this weekend triggered landslides and heavy flooding. At least 4 people are reported dead. One man watched his badly damaged house collapse just after he and his family had gotten out. Coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, a vampire and a werewolf make box office history. The producers of the latest Twilight Saga movie, New Moon, are over the moon about the film's very strong opening this weekend. The vampire epic, based on the best-selling books, took in just under $141 million. That's the 3rd biggest weekend opening in movie history. And the people standing in line to get in are not all the usual suspects. Kathy Plume knows she and her friends aren't exactly the target audience for Twilight.
We laugh about how silly it is to be captured by this movie.
Paper cut. The movie is about teenagers and aimed at teenagers, yet the theaters are filling up with 40-somethings like Meg Symington.
Everybody remembers their high school love, I think, the crush, the emotion of it all. So I think even at our age, we can relate to that.
Of course, most high school crushes don't involve vampires or werewolves.
Jake, run!
Twilight's love triangle features both.
Team Edward, he represents the vampires, and so if you like blood-sucking, you're on Team Edward. Then there's Team Jacob, he's a werewolf.
The movie's blockbuster opening weekend has taken Hollywood by surprise. The new movie, New Moon, grossed more than twice what the first film in the series did during its opening weekend. Is this all about fans who just had this pent-up anxiousness to go see the second movie after they liked the first one?
Absolutely. They just have to be there. It's like a drug. They have to get their infusion of this romance.
The sequel's success started even before Dawn Friday, breaking a box office record for midnight showings with $26 million in sales. And then it broke the Dark Knight's opening day record, earning $72 million. Some of it was repeat business.
I've seen it twice. This will be my 3rd time.
I'm not planning on it, but I probably will end up seeing it again. Probably end up buying the DVD.
Rabid teenage fans have turned the lead actors into megastars.
I'm in love with the Twilight series, and I love Robert Pattinson and Edward Cullen.
So far, 80% of the audience has been female, and half are under 21. But that means the other half are well past their teenage years. Sarah Solomon brought her mom, Amy, though it didn't take much arm twisting.
We both sort of wanted to see it, actually.
Actually, my sister just saw it last night and the night before in New York. So she called us right after she came out of the theater. She said, "You gotta go, you gotta go."
After fans have their fill of this movie, they'll have to wait a while for the next chapter in the saga. The 3rd movie opens next June. A one-of-a-kind glove worn by the late Michael Jackson was sold at auction this weekend for a whopping $350,000, 7 times more than expected. Jackson was wearing the iconic rhinestone-studded glove when he did his first public moonwalk 26 years ago. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, big city honey beekeepers hit the sweet spot. Finally tonight, have you heard the latest buzz about Washington's Fairmont Hotel? It's about some new guests who are staying for free. Wyatt Andrews shows us how the Fairmont has become another outpost of urban beekeeping.
In the Fairmont Hotel in Washington, high above the elegant lobby, the exclusive rooftop suite is reserved for tens of thousands of bees.
60,000 bees on a rooftop.
Right. But in the summer, it would have been, 180,000.
For Ian Benz and Aaron Weber, two of the hotel chefs, the beekeeping began as a way to serve upscale local honey.
I think it's very few things in Washington, D.C. that you can say is like a local flavor. So
you can
now
count
we have
that.
it. Yeah. So
you have local agriculture now.
Absolutely.
Keeping urban bees is growing worldwide, from London to Chicago to the White House lawn. New York City could be the bootleg bee capital of the world. Bootleg because
it's really illegal to keep bees.
It's illegal, but hey, it's New York. Rooftop bees don't bother the neighbors, so who needs to know? What these city keepers learn first is that bees need calm. As seen in the movie Secret Life of Bees, you only approach a hive by slowing yourself way down.
Send the bees love. Every little thing wants to be loved.
And so for Aaron, bees are the antidote to the pressures of the city.
You have to come here and be very nice and relaxed.
This is actually a break.
Absolutely, yeah.
But here's the part of the story that stings. Despite the increasing numbers of these city bees, country bees are in trouble and no one knows why. But without bee pollination, fruits and nuts like apples and almonds could not be mass produced. The rooftop keepers not only hope to repopulate the bees, beekeeping is really important.
They are also keeping one very sweet deal.
It's gorgeous.
We give bees a roof, they give us crops, and if we show enough love, we get to steal their food. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Washington.
And that's the CBS Evening News for tonight. Later on CBS, 60 Minutes and the high cost of dying. Katie Couric will be here tomorrow. For now, I'm Nancy Cordes, CBS News in New York. Good night.